Welcome into Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara. And Shaun, Thursday night football under the bright lights on the national stage. The division rival Dallas Cowboys came to MetLife Stadium and came away with the win. The Giants falling 20-15 is the final score. When you look at the way this ended, Shaun, a rare miss by Brandon Aubrey on the 51-yarder sets up the Giants in decent field position with just under 2 minutes to play. They go for it. Daniel Jones launches a ball deep to Jalen Hyatt. Amani Oruwariye intercepts it, and they just weren't able to convert there.
No, and it was tough. It was tough sledding right at the end there for Daniel Jones. Look, it was almost like a Hail Mary throw. He's just giving it the heave-ho, hoping that something magical happens. Maybe you get a penalty. Maybe you get a lucky catch. But, you know, it shouldn't have come down to that, Madelyn. I think the possession before, 4th and 6, you know, like in that case, if you kick the field goal there, maybe you give yourself a chance to just have to march down the field and get another field goal for the go-ahead win. But this game was definitely, it was right there. It was right there for the Giants to snatch this game out of the Dallas Cowboys' grasp. And coming on a short week after they just got shellacked by the Baltimore Ravens, they had to fly up here on 3 days rest. Everything was right within their grasp. This was exactly the way that you would cook up a big Giants win at home. And a low-scoring game. You hold the Dallas Cowboys at 20 points, you should win. Look, last year, week 1, they scored 40 points. We scored 0. This was a completely different game. So I thought the defense played their hearts out. I thought they were phenomenal. They didn't have the sack production that they had the week before, but they did enough to win this football game. Offensively, the fact that they could not punch the ball in the red zone is ultimately what came down to the loss. The fact you cannot just kick field goals and expect to win the game. We saw this same movie against Washington earlier on a couple weeks ago when all they did was kick field goals, and you've got to find a way to punch the ball and score touchdowns. That ultimately ended up being the determining factor in this game because, look, Malik Neighbors had another monster game. Daniel Jones was out here spinning it. I mean, his control, his command, his accuracy was phenomenal. I think the one thing that kind of I'm a little bit befuddled with is the fact that they gave up 274 yards rushing against the Baltimore Ravens last week, and we threw the ball 40 times. Like, that was their Achilles heel through the first 3 weeks of the season. The
Giants ran for 26 yards on the day, which was not comparable to the way the Ravens ran on that defense.
And the game was always within reach. This game was within hand, and everybody had been torching this defense by running the football, pounding the rock, getting it up in there. And yet we got away from that. Listen, credit to the offensive line. I thought the protection was excellent. DeMarcus Lawrence, who had been a game wrecker against the Giants for the last couple of years. Micah Parsons, who's been a game wrecker. They really weren't factors in that. I thought the protection was good. I thought they could have run the ball a little bit more and try to instill that a little bit. But, look, this offense took shots. Daniel Jones took shots. He even forced a couple of throws to try to give his guys a chance. So you've got to give him credit for that.
And to that point, though, we've seen Daniel Jones taking shots a couple of times so far this season in previous weeks and tonight. And it seems like they haven't been able to connect yet on that deep ball. What do you see missing there?
Well, I think the one deep throw that kind of jumps out of my mind is he forced a big throw to Malik Neighbors. It was almost intercepted by Hooker, who came over from a safety spot. He had the first down, so it's kind of like first down or touchdown, and sometimes you get a little greedy. I think he had a little bit of the Wolf of Wall Street in him in that play. He was going for the home run ball. He could have just taken the first down. But, look, I don't fault him for that because when you have a guy like Malik Neighbors and you give him a chance, and when you know he's got a step, he had Trayvon Diggs beat. He was 2 steps ahead of him. He had him beat. So I understand him wanting to take that shot, but you know, look, you look at the way the defense is playing, and even if you have a play called in the huddle where, hey, we're going to take a deep shot here, if they're playing, you know, 2 high safeties, if they're playing quarters coverage and they're taking that deep ball away from you, you've got to take what the defense gives you. So, listen, I think the offense, I think that they are walking in the locker room saying right now, we let our defense down because we couldn't punch it in. And that ultimately is how you win football games. You have to score touchdowns. You can't just win football games by kicking field goals over and over again, although you got to give credit to Joseph, who came in here and just nailed every single kick. That's, you know, what you expect from a pro kicker and a veteran kicker like that, and he did his job.
He did his job indeed. A couple other guys doing their job down on the field right now, Paul Dottino and Brandon London. Let's send it down for their perspective on this game. Guys, what do you got?
All right, thanks so much, Madelyn. And the view from the field, not much different than what you saw upstairs. Giants kicking 5 field goals tonight, which included going 0 for 3 in the red zone, and ultimately that really proved to be their downfall.
Yeah, it kind of looked like the Commanders game, but on the opposite side, the Giants weren't able to take away the win. You talk about when you're playing against a Cowboys offense that still has Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, you can't get 3. You want to get 6 to try and put some sort of pressure on that offense. The Giants were able to move the ball effectively and get down there, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to put the cherry on the top of the cake and get 6 points to put pressure on the Cowboys offense.
In terms of the offense's efficiency, well, Neighbors had over 100 yards through the air, but Wan'Dale Robinson really came out tonight with 11 receptions for 71 yards. We knew against the Cowboys' depleted secondary, somebody else was going to have to step up.
Yeah, we continue to see this offense evolve and involve. Wan'Dale with the 11, 12 catches, and then Darius Slayton had 3, but he was able to average 18.7 yards per catch. You're starting to see Coach Dable use different receivers for their different skill set. Wan'Dale, orbit motions, jet motions, everything short, sweet, intermediate throws to him. Now this offense has to take a step, hit some deep shots, not use Malik Neighbors so much. And again, put the ball into the end zone.
Yeah, both quarterbacks used a lot of short and medium range passes. That's why they were so accurate and effective. Now, the Giants only ran the ball for 26 yards tonight, and that's something I know they did not expect.
Yeah, I mean, we thought that it was going to be a run game. We had Brandon Jacobs ring the bell and everything. I thought that the Giants offense or the rush game was going to be able to carry this team on his back, but at the end of the day, they didn't get it going. And we haven't seen that with Motor Singletary the last 2 games. The rush game has been very effective, and the Giants offense has leaned on it. It's unfortunate they couldn't get it going tonight because they really needed it.
And when you don't run the ball well, you don't create 3rd and shorts. You create 3rd and longs, and that's why they were 5 of 16.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that as an offense, you go back into the meeting room and you look at that, and it's like, what could we have done better? We could have stayed on the field better. The Giants had over 35 minutes of time of possession, and that's still going 5 for 16 on 3rd down. So you were able to move the ball and be effective, but you couldn't punch it in the red zone, and you couldn't stay on the field on 3rd down.
So for the Giants and Cowboys, the Giants drop 1 to Dallas for the 7th straight time and for the 14th time in the last 15 meetings. Let's go back upstairs.
Thanks so much. Great stuff from Paul Dottino and Brandon London as the Giants fall to the Cowboys 20-15 on Thursday Night Football. We've got more to come, but first, Giants fans, it's Moody's. Decode risk, unlock opportunity. You can learn more at moodys.com. After the break, we're going to hear from Giants head coach Brian Daboll. That and much more on the show as Giants Postgame Live rolls on. The head coach will head to the podium shortly. Want to remind you guys, Giants fans, on October 13th, the Giants will host the Cincinnati Bengals for Sunday Night Football. 100 season celebrations will continue with a halftime ceremony celebrating the 07 and 11 Super Bowl teams. And the first 25,000 fans through the gates will receive a Tom Coughlin bobblehead. Limited tickets are available for this game, including suites. Scan the QR code on your screen to check out available ticket options. We'll be back with more Giants Postgame Live after this. Scoring drive of the game is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. Citizens is made for Giants fans. For every scoring drive this season, Citizens will donate $750 to the Giants Foundation to support their work tackling important community issues, improving overall health, and empowering our youth. For the drive of the game, we take you to the 4th quarter, starting with this play, 4th and 3. Daniel Jones finds Malik Neighbors, moves the chains, picks up the first down. Then once again, DJ going to the rookie wide receiver, hits Malik Neighbors over the middle, sets up the 42-yard field goal right here. Greg Joseph connects through the uprights, makes it 17-15, Dallas with the lead. As we take a look at the scoring drive of the game, 10 plays, 28 yards, took 4 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock, capped by that 42-yard field goal. Scoring drive of the game brought to you by Citizens. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. I'm Madelyn Burke alongside the Super Bowl champion Shaun O'Hara and joined by the 2-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. Banks, tough loss for the Giants on Thursday Night Football in primetime, especially when you take a look at the disparity in penalties. The Cowboys had 11 penalties for 89 yards, 9 penalties in the first half. It seemed, though, that the Giants just weren't able to capitalize on that.
Well, they literally had the game in their hands a few times, and they just couldn't get in the end zone because drives were being stopped by drop balls, right? Dallas was effective. Just simple and plain. They did what they needed to do to win the game, but this is not a game that you can say the Giants should not have won. They should have had an opportunity to win this game about 3 times, at least.
Absolutely. When you look at the way that this game finished as well, you know, the deep pass that we saw that Daniel Jones attempting to hit Jalen Hyatt. Shaun and I talked about this a little bit in that opening segment, but it seemed like they're just not yet connecting on that deep ball. What do you see from that?
Well, on that one, that was just like a Hail Mary, right? The safety was over the top and the corner was in the middle. The only thing that he could have done is just tried to get a pass interference call. He could have thrown that one to the end zone and somebody would have intercepted it. But listen, they had opportunities prior to that. Like defensively, they were good until they weren't, right? They couldn't stop the run when they needed to stop the run. And that is what the story of this game is going to be, because Dallas only had 86 yards rushing, but those 86 yards kept the trains on schedule. And that's how they were able to just keep moving the football and getting in field goal range.
Yeah, Carl, you know, when you get in the car after a game as a player,
yeah,
all you could think about are like those 3 plays.
Yes.
Like, oh man, as an offensive lineman, it's like those 3 plays. Like, if there's 65 plays in a game and you kicked butt for 62 of them,
yeah,
it's the 3 plays that are really irking you. And I think for this Giants defense, they played a phenomenal game. And I said it before as we opened this postgame show, if you hold the team to 20 points, you should win. And the Giants have had a points problem for years now. Last year, they were the lowest scoring offense in the league, 15 points a game. 15 points a game again here tonight. You're not going to win football games with that. That being said, defensively, the play that's irking them is that touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb.
Sure.
That was the only really blemish on the night, and that was really just a safety being out of position.
Correct.
Tyler Nubin overcommitted to that because it was too deep safety.
Yes.
That never should have happened. Even if he catches that ball, that should have been a tackle right there.
Yeah.
Play over, not a touchdown.
And that's exactly. It would have been a big play, not a touchdown. And that's kind of the youth on display here. They're young. But the impressive part about it for me, they had a lot of replacement players on the back end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, are they going to be able to just play assignment football? And they did it for the entire game. They tackled well. Cordell Flott, again, played a strong game. But just that one play, like you said, Nubin overruns it.
Yeah.
And Lamb goes in for a touchdown.
It's a game of angles. You know, it's
Right.
funny. Like I had a coach tell me one time, like if you had an A in geometry, you could be good at football because it's all about angles and numbers and angles. You know, Brian Billick was big on that, you know, and stuff that I learned from him. I think defensively, this defense came to play tonight.
Yeah.
Like, they were fired up.
Yeah.
I mean, right out of the gate. I mean, McLeod's up there stuffing people. Like, they were coming downhill, and this defense was getting after this Cowboys offense. I like the intensity they brought. They brought energy. They brought the passion. There is something to be said about when the offense goes out there and you can't punch it in. Like, you're on the doorstep. You're knocking on the door, and you just can't get in the house. Like, you keep on knocking, but you can't come in. And I tell you what, defensively, they feel that. And it's like, hey, you know what, man, we're struggling. We can't get a touchdown. Like, if we scored a touchdown on one of those drives, now all of a sudden the defense can breathe a little bit. Hey, we got a little breathing room. All right, you know what? Like, let's play with our hairs on fire, and it kind of gives them a little bit of mojo. So I think that's kind of what was missing, and the fact that the Giants, look, they were aggressive all night. I mean, went forward on 4th down 4 times.
Yep.
3 for 4 on that, so kudos to them. I thought Daniel Jones was spinning it tonight. He was out there dealing like a blackjack dealer, and it was, you know, hot 7 coming out.
Yeah.
I think Malik Neighbors was phenomenal. Wan'Dale Robinson stepped up.
And defensively, they got some pressure on Dak Prescott. They hadn't had a sack on Dak since 2021. And Kayvon had that huge one for an 8-yard loss that took the Cowboys out of field goal range, and a big play right there. All right, we got to get to break right now because we're going to hear from head coach Brian Daboll after the break. We've got much more to come here on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Stay with us. But first, Giants fans, want to remind you guys the official 100th season book titled New York Football Giants: The People, the Moments, the Traditions is now available exclusively at the Giants online shop. This book explores the top 100 players of all time, including the 2 gentlemen to my left, unforgettable games and stories that have defined the franchise for the last century. Visit the Giants online shop to get yours today.
I think Carl's got a whole chapter. I think I'm like half a page with Soybert. You got a whole
The
chapter.
way I look at it, we're in there.
We're back with more after this. Fans, join the Giants text alert community for breaking news, sweepstakes, ticket offers, and important game day information. Just scan the QR code on your screen or text Giants to 201-636-1569 to get started. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Madelyn, Burke, Shaun, O'Hara, and Carl Banks hanging out here. And let's set it down to the podium, though, where head coach Brian Daboll is speaking after the 20-15 loss to the Cowboys.
All right, tough game, competitive game. Came down there to the end. Missed a couple opportunities to advance the ball or keep drives going. Thought the quarterback played well. Made a lot of good decisions, throws. Couldn't get our run game going. Tried a variety of runs. Give them credit; they did a good job of shutting down our run game. So that was huge. The big play to 88, but again, competitive game. Give them a lot of credit. Tough one.
Brian, were there any common denominators to not getting across the goal line or not getting down there as much?
Yeah, we were 0 for 2 when we got down there. So, again, some of those were third down conversions where we had some opportunities to get there. I think we punted one time. Hit some fourth downs. But ultimately, we threw out the ball out there to Wandell on the one, and they made a good tackle on him. Had an opportunity there on the right-hand side to keep the drive going. I thought, a big difference was we kind of controlled the game in the passing game, but we didn't do enough in the running game. And to give them credit, you knew they were going to get some of it fixed, but we got to do a better job than that.
Was there any thought to going for it on fourth down after the Wandell catch that took you guys down to like the 3-4 yard line? And if
no, we were gonna go for points on that one. Yeah.
Why? What was the reason for that?
To get 3 points. I mean, it was a close game, so we didn't know what we need at the end there. But we were gonna kick it.
Can you elaborate on Daniel?
Daniel? Yeah, no, 3 games in a row. I'm proud of the young man. He's made good decisions. He's thrown the ball where he needs to throw the ball. I mean, the last play to Hyatt, that's heave it down there and see if we can get a DPI or we can go up and try to make a play. But I thought, for 3 games he's been locked in. He's played well. He's seen the field. He's delivered the ball where he needs to. Again, we had some opportunities to continue drives today as well. So I'm proud of how he's performed, how he's prepared. He's done a nice job for us.
You saw that last play was right in front of you with Malik. What did you see there? It looked close, and did he get,
No, I thought he did a great job of keeping his feet in bounds. It was a perfect throw, and as he was going to the ground, the ball kind of got jarred out there, but he put it right where he needed to put it on a scramble, and it was close. It was a game of inches.
How do you see how Malik?
I'm going to see him right after this. I was going to stop in. He was with the doctors right before I came in here. I'll see him right after.
DJ obviously hit him on the deep one when he's wide open early, but otherwise the deep connections, like he was underthrowing a lot. Any common denominator there? Why do you think that?
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at it. The one I know they jumped off sides and we had a chance. I think Slayton over on the right-hand side and missed that one. But I'll go back and watch the tape.
That's kind of been lacking in general. If no, is that a concern? You haven't been able to hit on those down the field throws?
Yeah, you'd like to hit him.
Is there any comment? Because that's something that he struggled with. Daniel did in a lot of the camp practices we were at.
Yeah, I mean, look, we missed that one. I know that. Again, I thought the quarterback played well. You'd like to have all completions, but certainly something we want to continue to work on.
Dave's
yeah.
on a Dowell screen touchdown. The rest of the 2 flags that I played, and they picked it up. Did you get an explanation? Anything? Why he picked it up?
Yeah.
I saw you were pretty young.
Yeah. I thought it was a different call than what they made. They thought one called illegal downfield, and then he said it wasn't. I thought they were going to call something different.
Oh, they said downfield, not
He was, yeah, not a hold. Legal man downfield. I thought it was a potentially different call, but.
Thank you. What about on the calls part? What about before, like the opening drive? Obviously, there was the penalty call that you guys face mask. The replay showed it kind of supposed to be the other way around.
Yeah, that's what they told me upstairs.
What did the refs tell you about that?
Yeah, you'd have to ask them, but guys saw it upstairs. That's what they told me. Same thing you said.
Brian, there were only 4 games into Malik's career, but just talk about his ability to change the game and the way he's playing so far.
Yeah, I think he's doing some good things. Again, glad we have him. Thought Wandell did some good things for us tonight. The guys, when they got their other opportunities. Yeah, I'm going to see him here. I hope he's okay.
You're relying so much on, like, a lot, right? 13, 14 targets a game. Are you?
How many did Wandell have?
He had over 10 also, double digits. But are you content with, or do you need more from the other guys, right? Because
How many did Wandell have? 10?
11 catches.
11 catches. So, again, there's 2 guys right there. You're not going to be able to throw the ball, to 5 guys 10 times a game. Those are 2 of our really good players. And I think that's what you try to do, whether you're devising games, is to try to get your best guys involved and supplement them with, I think I got a lot of confidence in the other guys. If they do stuff to take them away, Jordan, sure. Yeah, if they're going to. But we were doing a lot of different things, too, to try not to let them do that. If you saw some different types of shifts and things like that to put the defense on edge. And, to have 2 guys that have however many, 10 and whatever, I don't have the numbers, but that's what you try to do, is get your best guys involved and then supplement them with the other guys in the pass game.
I'm talking almost more like explosive plays, because if it's like, almost like if he's not getting the explosive play, like, where else are you getting it from right now?
Yeah, look, I thought the quarterback threw the ball where he needed to throw it to the guys that he needed to throw it to today.
Dave, when you were facing those third down situations, it looked like you guys really like throwing to Wandell and to Malik in space and letting them, they're catching it seems like before the sticks. Is that playing to your personnel? Is that philosophical? Is that the way the Cowboys are playing you? Because it seemed like a couple of those plays were short of the sticks.
Yeah, some of them were, with stuff behind it as well. So, again, you make one guy miss, which I have a lot of confidence in the 2 players that you mentioned, and making people miss in space, and I would count on them, to do that.
What adjustments did they make from Booth when they went to Oruwariye? Was there an adjustment that they made that kind of changed your approach out there? Or?
No.
Did you feel like for the play again tonight showed progress in how you're playing in this rivalry?
Yeah. Again, the result stinks. But I thought there was improvement. I think there's been continual improvement at the results. Again, last week we got the result we wanted. This week we didn't, which is hurtful. It hurts. It's painful. You work your butt off. We had a good short week. But we played the game, the way we needed to play it. Just missed out on a couple things. I would say we just, we got to do a better job in the run game. And that starts with me. But, we tried a variety of things. We couldn't really get much going. That's why the passing game, I thought that was the right way to go with it, but just not fully go into passing every play. Be able to stay on track a little bit, and we went backwards on a couple of these runs. They made some nice plays, did a nice job at the line of scrimmage. We went inside, went outside with quarterback run. Just wasn't our night in the run game.
What do you think about Kayvon?
Yeah, I'll go back and look at it, yeah.
Were they selling out at all, Brian, to stop the run?
They did a couple things when we were in certain personnel groups where they brought a weak safety and stuff like that. But I wouldn't say, I thought they did a good job of either defeating blocks or, slipping blocks, making tackles. We were going to come into the game and we wanted to try to establish the run game, something that we wanted to do. And we just, we kept sticking them in. I think that's important to do, but we didn't get much out of it.
Obviously, coming in, Lamb is their number one. Yeah. The first half, you get to lose. What do you think about the plan or the execution? I
thought the plan was good. It was some short pass. The long one to Tay was a man-to-man play, and he won man-to-man, and then he ran away from it. So that was the big one that he hit. The smaller ones, they're going to have those with good players. But the big one, he made a nice play. He's a heck of a player.
Do you think it's added too much to have Tay having week after week to travel with these number 1 wide receivers?
Yeah, but there's different things that we do relative to with the safety calls. I think Shane does a good job of mixing it up.
Anything else?
Dave, do you feel like, especially the last 2 years, they've really taken it to you guys up front on both sides of the ball? Do you feel like tonight maybe you guys stabilize there and that will allow you to move forward here?
Yeah. Again, I think we did some good things, Art. Obviously not good enough. You didn't get the result we want, but, I was proud of the way we competed. I think we gave up 1 sack, only got 1 sack. They had 3.5 yards rushing. Was that it? We had, less than 1 probably. And then, the turnover at the end is a turnover at the end. I'm not concerned about that, but got to get the ball. Got to finish in the red zone, which we've done the last couple weeks. We just, we came up short a little bit. But again, I thought the guys competed the right way, did what they needed to do during the week. We just came up a little bit short.
Thanks.
That sound from head coach Brian Daboll is brought to you by your local Ford stores. Ford is proud to be the official truck of the New York Giants. One of the interesting things that Daboll said there is, they tried to establish the run game, didn't get much out of it, crediting Dallas's defense, saying they did a good job of shutting down our run game. The narrative around the Cowboys defense coming into this game the last few weeks is that their run defense was a weak spot. So, Carl, what did you see from what they were able to do tonight?
I mean, they stacked the box, and, they played gap. Responsible football, and the last couple of games they would linebackers were just following their own color and they were leaving these big gaping holes. I think the Giants, like you said, they tried, but they just didn't do a very good job, because I think they still have a weakness at the second level of their defense, and the Giants just couldn't get to that second level. Shaun, you could talk a little bit more about what the offensive linemen should be doing.
Yeah, when it comes to the run game, the toughest thing to deal with the run game is patience. Because you run the ball a couple of times, it's like, oh, we only got 3 yards. We only got 4 yards in that play. The big plays come in the second half. They come the more persistent you are with the run game. So the fact that the Dallas Cowboys had struggled to stop the run through every single game this season, you knew there was going to be that big break at some point. You just got to keep pressing, keep pushing. The fact that this game was within reach the entire time. At no point was it ever a two-score game and you're out of it and you got to throw the ball to get back into it. Look, we could have been more patient with it. And look, I think you go up to it. There's some times where you call a run play, you come up to the line, and there's 8 guys in there, and it's like, hey, we're checking to a quick slant, or we're going to alert the play and throw the ball based on what the defense is doing. But I think when you look at the fact that Dallas was coming on a short week here after playing Baltimore Ravens, they were beat up. And you could tell they seemed a little flat to start the game. The time of possession, we had the ball for 35 minutes. If you would have told me before this game happened that the Giants would have had the ball for 35 minutes in time of possession, I would have said we're running for 150 to 200 yards and we're winning this game. And that just never transpired.
Instead, on 24 combined attempts, the Giants just had 26 net rushing yards on the day, a 20-15 loss to the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. We've got more to come on the program as Giants Postgame Live continues. But first, guests of our postgame show receive a gift certificate to Ben and Jack's, located on 44th Street in Manhattan. From the celebrated porterhouse to finer seafood, Ben and Jack's will surpass your expectations of what a steakhouse should be. We're letting the two-time Super Bowl champ Carl Banks go for the night, but Shaun and I will be back with more Giants Postgame Live. We'll hear from Giants quarterback Daniel Jones after this.
The rush defense was something you can still hang your hat on, because once again, I thought you were effective in limiting their ground game, no?
Yeah. Yeah, we did good in stopping the run. We just,
Well, even on their last possession, to get the ball back, they had to miss a 53-yard field goal. You kept them in long field goal range to give your offense another chance.
Yeah, that's what you got to do in that situation. We came out in bigger personnel to match them, and we out-physical them that drive. We just got to do better throughout the game.
Prescott tonight threw a lot of dinks and dunks, a lot of short stuff. How difficult was it to deal with him as compared to maybe some other times you played him?
Like you said, he just did a good job getting the ball out of his hand. We got to do better as a front, getting our hands up, deflecting some of those passes.
That was our Paul Dottino with a dejected Dexter Lawrence as we take a look at his numbers tonight against the Cowboys. 2 tackles, 1 quarterback hit as the Giants fall 20-15 to Dallas on Thursday Night Football. Paul opened that interview, Shaun, asking Dex about, hey, you guys were able to limit their rush attack. I know we've talked a lot about how the Giants just had 26 yards net rushing, but the Cowboys only had 80 yards on the ground.
Yeah, they were pretty one-dimensional tonight, and I think, you look at the production and the stats right there we showed of Dexter Lawrence, not quite the gaudy stats that we had last week against the Cleveland Browns. That was by design. You could tell the Dallas Cowboys came into this game saying, we're not going to let this defensive line wreck this game. We're going to get the ball out quick. We saw a lot of short passes, a lot of screens. They were adamant, Matt, on about we're going to slow down this pass rush. We're not going to let Dexter and Burns and Thibodeau wreck this game. So, look, I think coming into it, you knew that Dallas was going to throw the ball. That's where their best players are outside of that 8-man box, really, basically. So they're going to try to get the ball out, spread the ball around. Coming into this game, Dak Prescott was the NFL's leading rusher, and he had thrown more passes than any other quarterback.
Leading passer, yeah.
You knew that was going to be the recipe to get back into the win column. But I think the defense played their hearts out. I thought that there was a lot of great performances. Cordell Flott stepped up. He had a bunch of tackles. Micah McFadden had another monster game. Tyler Nubin was all over the field. So I thought that a lot of the young players for this Giants defense played well enough to win, and they just didn't come out on the right end of it.
Right, and you mentioned Dak Prescott, the NFL's leading passer, adding another 221 yards and 2 touchdowns on the night. Really padded by that 55-yarder to CeeDee Lamb.
That helps.
That helps as well. The Giants just weren't able to get into the end zone, though, having to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns, and Darius Slayton was asked about that. Let's send it down to the locker room.
Extremely. I think we got down there twice in the red, was unable to score, and then we had other drives where we got ourselves in field goal range and killed ourselves with penalties, and then had other drives where we just had execution errors. I had one of them. We had others as well.
What was yours?
The play I didn't make on the right side. We're in the red. I think it was third down, yeah.
You got to make that catch? You feel like you have to make that catch, what you're saying?
For sure, 100% got to make that. I make that, at least extends the drive. We got a chance at scoring right there, so I take accountability for that.
I mean, do you feel like you were close? I mean, you guys obviously couldn't run the ball at all. So how much pressure did that put on the passing, attack for everything, really?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely ended up coming down to us making plays in the passing game, and we made a lot. We made enough to get down there, but we didn't make enough to score, and ultimately you got to score to win. So we got to find a way to make more when it's needed.
It's Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton as we take a look at his numbers against the Cowboys. 3 receptions for 56 yards on 5 targets. They said, ultimately you got to score to win, just weren't able to get into the end zone. Slayton pointing to some of the missed opportunities too that the Giants had, including his own. And you and Carl Banks talked about this earlier in our show tonight. It doesn't matter how many good plays you have, you carry with you that one that you just want back, as we heard Slayton talking about. Yeah,
he mentioned that third down drop. There were a number of drops on third down, and those are crucial. Like, those are just drive killers, but they're also, momentum killers as well. And look, Slayton, I thought he was going to score on that big pass play he had for 28 yards. He caught the ball, the corner fell down, and he was almost like he was like stepping on banana peels. Like, he slipped once, then he slipped again, and the ball came out. So even that's another missed opportunity, because we've seen Darius Slayton. I remember vividly against the Philadelphia Eagles down in Philadelphia, he catches that same kind of pass, and boom, he's off to the races. He's got that kind of speed. So, look, every player feels bad when they have a drop, when they have a play like that, and they don't maximize it. He's not alone in that capacity, but I think for a guy like Slayton, for a guy like Wan'Dale Robinson, with what Malik Neighbors is doing, teams are going to try to take him away from the game. They're going to double him. It's going to open up more plays for those guys. So, listen, the whole Giants offense needs to do a better job on third down and down in the red zone. They've got to find a way to finish. Winning football games is hard. You've got to put it all together. They're not quite there yet, but they're knocking on the door.
And you mentioned Malik Neighbors. Of course, we saw late in the game that catch that he dropped on the sideline, getting the 10 toes down, but he did suffer a concussion in that one, so we'll continue to monitor Neighbors as the night goes on. All right, we've got more to come on Giants Postgame Live. After the break, we're going to hear from the Giants quarterback, Daniel Jones. Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. Tonight's player of the game is presented by HCL Tech, supercharging progress, the official digital transformation partner of the New York Giants. Player of the game, of course, finishing with 12 receptions for 115 yards on 15 targets, the rookie wide receiver, Malik Neighbors, HCL Tech player of the game on Thursday Night Football. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Let's send it down now to the man who threw Neighbors all those passes. Daniel Jones is at the podium.
Yeah, I mean, I think just didn't execute in those positions. We got behind the sticks with some penalties and some unforced errors, and just didn't execute the same as we had leading up to that point. So I thought we moved the ball well and drove it, but we didn't finish, and we got to go back and see what we could have done better there.
How frustrating is it for you as a quarterback not being able to get your team into the end zone?
very frustrating. Very frustrating. We're expected to score touchdowns and put points on the board, and in a game that I felt like we were able to do a lot and move the ball well and you know, execute a lot of stuff well. We didn't execute the red zone stuff and didn't punch it in, so that's frustrating, yeah.
Jerry, how does an inability to run the ball as an offense impact you as a passer?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, I thought there was, you know, there's some opportunities in the pass game that we got to convert, and for the most part, I thought we did a good job executing, and pass pro was good, and receivers did a good job getting open. You know, I think we'll look at some things we can do better in the run game, and you know, I thought the pass pro was really good. Execution in the pass game for the most part was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, we got to look at where we can improve across the board and get going.
Is there already one pass play that you would like back out of anything you've seen tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were some opportunities out there that you know, got a hit, and like I said, I thought the execution for the most part was pretty good, but you know, we certainly left some plays out there.
Let's take a look at the quarterback comparison tonight as the Giants took on the Cowboys. Of course, Daniel Jones, 281 yards, 1 interception on that final play, a heave to the end zone targeting Jalen Hyatt. Didn't come down with it, as Brian Dable said, hey, 3 games in a row, good decisions locked in. I think he played well. We've got more show coming up after the break. Stay with us. Giants Postgame Live brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health continues after this. Hey, Giants fans, check out the Eli Manning Show presented by Panini Prism Trading Cards. All you have to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all of the new shows. It's the Eli Manning Show. Subscribe to the Giants YouTube channel today. Welcome back to Giants Postgame Live. Madelyn Burke alongside the co-host of the Eli Manning Show, Shaun O'Hara. After the Giants fell to the Cowboys 20-15 on Thursday Night Football.
That's my favorite title, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the best
favorite
one.
title.
Favorite title. Let's send it back down to the locker room. Jon Runyan is speaking to the media.
We've had a lot of close games so far this season, last 3 weeks, and it's tough when you kind of can feel the game kind of right there and slips through your hands right at the end, and felt like we had what we needed. Felt like we were really moving the ball really well today and just weren't able to get it done today. And it's really frustrating, but nothing we can do about it. Just got to keep going forward. It's only week 4. The season's not even a quarter over. I believe in this team, and we got some time to put some games together.
What have you seen from Daniel just over the last 3 games?
Yeah, he's been really efficient. He's been taking care of the ball extremely well, putting us in the right positions to score points. And you just got to keep doing the same thing. And he's feeling very comfortable with this offense. And from offensive line, we gotta be a bit more proficient in the run game. And I felt like if we were able to do that today, it would have helped us a lot more. And he's been delivering the ball really well. Receivers been getting open down the field, and it's been looking really good. And really happy with how he's been playing so far.
As Giants guard Jon Runyan. And Shaun, one thing that I found interesting that he said was the perspective right there. It's only week 4. I know the Giants are 1-3 on the season right now, but the season is not even a quarter over, as he said.
No, there's a lot of football to be played. And, you know, obviously when you look at the NFC East, like this division has come down to the last game of the season pretty much every year. So, look, there's a lot to still play for. Obviously, you don't ever want to start 1-3. I always felt like in September, if you can go 2-2 and then kind of get into October, that's kind of when you start hitting your stride, and that's kind of moving day. But I think for Jon, you know, offensively, they did have things going well for them. They put together some nice drives, an 8-play drive, an 11-play drive, 15-play drive. Mm-hmm. So they're controlling the game. The time of possession was completely lopsided. When you have the ball for 35 minutes, you feel like you're wearing down that defense, and you just can't punch it in. So they're getting close. They're right there. I think we have seen the growth from this offense from week 1 to now. Yeah. I mean, this offense is light years ahead of where they were 3 weeks ago. So if you consider down that same pattern and that same ratio, Next week they should be even better, and 3 weeks from now, like, they should be light years ahead of where they are right now even.
Yeah, lots to hang your hat on still off of the loss, and as he mentioned, a lot of ball game left in the season. All right, we've got more to come, but first we're going to leave you here with this. Name that Giant. He was a 4th-round draft pick in 1985, 351 career receptions, so an offensive player, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and inducted into the Giants Ring of Honor in 2011. Shaun, got some guesses? We're going to guess and reveal after the break.
1985.
Stay with us. We're back with more after this.
I think the Bears won the Super Bowl that year.
Welcome back to the show. Let's name that Giant. He was a 4th-round draft pick in 1985, 351 career receptions, a 2-time Super Bowl champion in Super Bowl 21 and 25, and inducted into the Giants Ring of Honor in 2011. Shaun, you got any guesses?
Yeah, this is, you know, obviously when you see the receptions, you think receiver at first. But when you look at how many years he played, I don't know if that's
maybe another
receiver,
skill, maybe
like,
a tight end.
receptions. Yeah, I'm thinking Howard Cross, but 4th-round pick in 1985. And in 2011, I'm thinking Mark Bavaro, maybe?
Ooh, Mark Bavaro, it is.
Look at the pipes.
And there he is. Look at him in the Ring of Honor, Giants Ring of Honor, number 89.
Dude, Bavaro had the pipes. Like, he's looking like Rocky out there, Sylvester Stallone, with the biceps bulging.
Absolutely.
Man.
Well, now we turn the page, of course. Week 4 is in the books. Week 5 is on deck. The Giants are visiting Seattle. The Giants are going to be on a long week, of course, Thursday night football. The Seahawks have started the season 3-0, but they've got a Monday night matchup with the Lions. So they'll be on a short week for this matchup. But Shaun, what are your early thoughts about this game on a Sunday afternoon?
Well, forgive me if I start twitching over here. Playing in Seattle is a challenge. The noise is absolutely a factor, and I was a part of that game in 2005 where I think we had 11 false start penalties. None of them were on me, Madelyn, because I was the center, of course. But that is a tough place to play. Mike McDonald, in his first year at Seattle, he has this defense rocking and rolling. Their defense is stout, one of the best in the league already through the first 3 games of the season, but really it's the 3-headed monster on offense that they're going to have to face. Obviously, Geno Smith, somebody that Giants fans know really well, but DK Metcalf with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Tyler Lockett, that's a really good trio of wide receivers. This secondary is going to be challenged.
Absolutely. We saw Dak Prescott, the leader in passing yards. Geno Smith also among the top 5 in those as well. We'll be here after the show to recap the game, as we are every week on Giants Postgame Live, brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. For Shaun O'Hara, I'm Madelyn Burke. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on this Thursday night. We'll see you next week as the Giants head to Seattle for Week 5.